Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Juliet and I'm a Pearson Test of English tutor. In today's video, I'll basically be talking about read aloud, which is the first task in the PTE exam and the first task in the PTE speaking. If you're new here, I'm glad to have you here. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back to watch my video. Now stay tuned while you know what I have to talk about and what you need to do so that you can pass this task. The read aloud. Now, a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about the read aloud. People say they try to do this task and they don't still get a high score, especially when they try out the mock test that we have on some important, interesting websites. Now, the read aloud is the first task in the PTE speaking, and it's one of the most important tasks in the PTE exam. This is because it's going to be adding scores to both the PTE speaking and the PTE reading. It's not adding 5 marks. It's not adding 10 marks. It's adding between 30 to 35 marks to your PTE reading. That shows you how relevant this task is, and people struggle with this task because they do not know what is expected of them, how they can go about this task. Now, it looks easy, especially if you're trying it out for the first time. But if you're not guided, if you're not taught by someone how to read it, then you might not know what to do on your exam day. So this is what I'm here to tell you about in this video. This read aloud can improve your speaking score so much. It can impact your speaking score. It's a speaking task, yes, and it impacts your speaking score so much. This read aloud and the repeat sentence are the bedrock of the PTE speaking, if you ask me. Now, the read aloud on exam day, you have 6 to 7 of this task, and you're expected to read what is before you. They have a passage. I'm going to just attach it here. Yeah, so you see this box, you see this passage here, you're supposed to read it out aloud to the computer. Now, what happens in this task is you'll be given 35 seconds to read the text before you. Then once the 35 seconds elapses, you would hear a beep. Once you hear that beep, you're not supposed to start speaking into the microphone what is before you. Now, there's a way you have to read this thing, and there are also some criteria you'll be marked on, which I'll explain in this video. Now, the first criteria is content, the second one is oral fluency, and the third one is pronunciation. Now, the content is the first criteria that you'll be marked for, and it's supposed to be like 3 marks, and it's just the words that make up the text before you. Then we'll look at the oral fluency. The oral fluency is your ability to read the text before you smoothly, without long pauses and hesitation, without making corrections about what you're reading. Once you do it that way, you get 5 marks for oral fluency. Then the pronunciation, how well you're able to pronounce a word, like a native English speaker, or every word you see that make up that text, can someone understand what you're saying? Now, these are the 3 criteria, and you're supposed to have 5 marks for the pronunciation. So we have 3 marks for content, 5 marks for oral fluency, and 5 marks for pronunciation. That means 13 marks for each of the read aloud you're given in the exam. Remember, you have 6 to 7 of this task, and that is why this task adds a lot of score to your PTE reading module. You don't have to play with this task. You have to understand how this task is done, and you have to know what is expected of you. Right, so let me just share some few tips that you will need to know, or you need to put into consideration while you do this task. Then I'm going to show you 1 or 2 examples of how you can read, okay, from the website I normally use. So I'm going to be looking into my book because I noted it down so I don't forget it. Now, the first tip that you need to put into consideration is here is we always say don't read too fast or don't read too slow. You know, that's our normal way when we talk to our students or on YouTube. That's what you hear people say. Now, what is too fast and what is too slow? So I would say to you today, read just above your normal way of reading, slightly observing the punctuation mark. Don't be in a hurry like you're being chased by it there. Just read slightly above your normal way of reading, and that way your fluency will be good. Then the next thing is, while you're reading, do not make corrections over what you're reading, because if you make corrections over what you're reading, you're going to lose marks there. So keep at it. Even if you make a mistake, pretend like you didn't know you made a mistake and carry. All right, so I've given you 2 tips now. I'm going to give you 2 more tips. The next tip here I have is do not take long pauses or hesitations. You know, because you're trying to observe the punctuations, you might be tempted to start taking long pauses, try taking long hesitations because you're trying to observe the punctuation marks. Please do not do that. Then the last tip I have here for you today is be fluent. Be as fluent as possible. Remember, the name of this task is read aloud. So you cannot be reading the blue black there jumped over the fence. No. You have to be fluent. You have to add life to what you're reading. Once you do that, you'll be able to get out the score. Remember, this exam, you're being tested for your fluency. So you have to be as fluent as possible now, and not on a flat tone. Don't read on a flat tone. It's not necessary. Try to make it interesting. Okay, now I'm going to take one or two examples so you see how this task is done, and ensure you watch this video to the end so you hear the examples. All right, so let's look at this, and once we hear the beep, we'll start reading out to the microphone on our headset. So this is me reading to myself, so I get acquainted to the words and I will not struggle and have long hesitations during the real reading. Moods may also have an effect on how information is processed by influencing the extent to which judges rely on pre-existing internal information or focus on new external information. Positive moods promote more holistic and top-down processing style, while negative moods recruit more stimulus-driven. All right. Moods may also have an effect on how information is processed by influencing the extent to which judges rely on pre-existing internal information or focus on new external information. Positive moods promote more holistic and top-down processing style, while negative moods recruit more stimulus-driven and bottom-up processing. So that's the way it should be read, okay? You shouldn't read so slow. You shouldn't read too fast. This way I read it just slightly above my normal way of reading. That way I'm able to get the score that I need. Let's take a second example. All right. COVID-19 pandemic is linked to early onset of puberty in some girls. Several studies suggest that the number of girls starting puberty early has more than doubled amid the coronavirus outbreak, and experts are unsure about exactly why. See, those last words are kind of tongue twisters. That is why you need to read this at least once to yourself before the audio goes on. If you just assume that, oh, you'll just be playing and once the audio goes on, you just do magic and read it, or you might make a mistake somewhere. Yeah, so I'm waiting for the beep, and once the beep goes off and I see 1 second, I'll begin to read. COVID-19 pandemic is linked to early onset of puberty in some girls. Several studies suggest that the number of girls starting puberty early has more than doubled amid the coronavirus outbreak, and experts are unsure about exactly why. So that is the way you read, okay? It's not boring. I'm not reading flatly. I'm not saying COVID-19 pandemic is like somebody that is sad. No. You have to add life to whatever it is you're reading. So these are the two examples I want to give. If you have any question, just let me know in the comment section and I will sure to respond to you. Yeah. I hope this video will help you out there, especially if you cannot afford a tutor like me, okay? All these are tutors we have on YouTube that are doing amazing job. You can practice this on your own. You can decide to practice the PT on your own. Of course you can, and still pass your exam. The only thing is that a tutor will guide you in the right direction. Like a tutor like me, I'll guide you in the right direction, and if you also put in effort, you're going to get that score that you need. Remember to follow me on Instagram at English_prep class and on Facebook at English Prep Class. If you can share this video to your friends, your families, and your loved ones that need to write the PTE, please go ahead and share it to them, okay? Or share it with them. It can help someone out there. I'll see you in my next video. Remember to click on the subscribe button because it's free. Bye, guys.